Let's be honest, you've been there. You've downloaded a new app. It looks clunky. The buttons are confusing. Every tap feels like a chore. So you delete it in under a minute. Then there's the other kind. The one that just feels right. The animations are smooth. The sounds are satisfying. The sound effects, that is. Using it just makes you feel clever, capable. You even feel a bit happier. So you don't just use it. You enjoy it. It's useful. Now, what's the difference? It's not just code. It's not just function. The difference is emotion. And if you're a designer, a product manager, or a leader who is ignoring the emotional side of your user's experience, you're not just leaving money on the table, you're practically guaranteeing your product's future failure. Now today we're going to go a bit deeper into emotional design. Now this isn't just the fluffy abstract stuff. Now, this is the science of why people fall in love with products and how you can make it happen. Right, so what exactly is emotional design? Well, think of it this way. A functional product is like a hammer. It does a job, right? You pick it up, you hit a nail, you put it down. You don't think about the hammer again, do you? It has a function, it's useful from that perspective only. An emotionally designed product is different. It's about creating connection that goes beyond pure utility. It's designing an experience that makes a user feel a certain way, confident, smart, secure, or even delighted. But why does this matter so much? Well, it's because we aren't logical creatures as human beings. The psychologists at the University of Western Australia and countless other studies confirm it. Our emotions drive our decisions. We think we're making rational choices, but our gut feelings are really running the show. A positive emotional response to your product creates loyalty that no feature list ever could. People don't remember the exact button they pressed, but they will always remember how your product made them feel. Now, the godfather of this concept, Don Norman, broke it down into 3 distinct levels. Now, if you want to master this, you really need to understand these 3 layers. What comes next? So, the 3 layers of emotional design. First up is the visceral level. This is pure instinct, the immediate gut reaction you may have to something before you even think. Now, we've had these kind of parallel experiences before. All of us have. Think of the first time you met somebody. Now think of the first time you met someone you didn't like from the get-go. That's called pure instinct, a gut reaction. Now, in the context of what we're talking about, it's like the shiny effect. When you see something that's beautifully designed, for example, like a website or an app with gorgeous typography, stunning imagery that draws you in, that tells you a story. That's your visceral brain firing off, telling you satisfying things, such as the swoosh or the sound, all of those things that happens when you perhaps send an email in a mail app, the stuff that makes you feel good. It's not deep, but it's powerful. A positive visceral reaction makes people want to engage. It tells them, this looks good. This feels good. I want to try this. A negative visceral reaction, on the other hand, is like clutter, an ugly interface, makes them want to run away. It's that person who you said, I don't like you, after meeting them for the first 10 seconds. That person that we mentioned earlier. Again, your first impression. You don't get a second chance with first impressions. That's why it's called a first impression. Now, next we have the behavioral level. This really lends to the joy of use. So this is all about the experience of actually using the product. Is it easy? Is it useful? Is it effective? Does it make me feel competent? This is where traditional usability lives, but with an emotional twist. Think about a checkout process online. Now, a bad one is full of confusing steps, perhaps with lots of cognitive load. Think about a checkout process online. Now, a bad one is full of confusing steps, unexpected fees, and error messages that basically blame you and say you're the ones at fault here. It makes you feel stupid, makes you feel frustrated. Now, a good behavioral design, on the other hand, is seamless, frictionless. The steps are clear, the feedback is helpful, and you're able to glide through that experience, feeling capable and in control. You've submitted your payment details, you know when your product's coming, you feel confident that your money is now safely in the hands of the company whose services or product you've just procured. It's the simple joy of a well-placed button, or an intuitive gesture, or an error message that says, oops, let's fix that together, instead of invalid input. That's a system generated message, right? We've had those before. Great behavioral design makes the user feel powerful, not powerless. And finally, the most powerful level of all. Now this is the reflective level. The reflective level is really that lasting impression. I've heard it illustrated this way. The impression that you leave with people when you've left the room. Have you ever met that person? After you've met them for the first time, and perhaps that person sounds like a good dude, a nice lady, a nice gentleman or woman, etc. They've left the room, they've left your company, and you're like, I think I like that guy. That's what we're talking about here, but in a different context. But of course, it's still the conscious part of the brain that we are engaging. Now, after you've used the product, what's the story you tell yourself about it? How does it affect your self-image? So this is about the meaning, the memories, and the relationship you build with a brand over time. When you use a product from a company like, let's just say Patagonia, you're not just buying a jacket, you're aligning with their values of sustainability. That makes you feel good about yourself. That's reflective design. Or let's just say Victorinox, with the legendary and very famous Swiss army knives. These are built to last. They can last a lifetime. And again, in the same way, if you're aligned with their values, you'll be aligned with the way in which they like to make sure you get the very best product possible at very affordable but good premium prices. And on top of that, you get a product that will help you to be prepared for whatever comes next. Again, reflective design. That's the feeling of inclusivity from a luxury brand, or the sense of community from a social app. See, this is where brand loyalty is born, where a product becomes part of a user's identity. So you haven't just gained a customer, what you've gained is an advocate. Visceral, behavioural, reflective. You need all three. Great looks, visceral. With a clunky interface, behavioural. It's just a frustrating disappointment essentially. A super usable product, behavioural, that's ugly, visceral, and forgettable, reflective, that will never be loved. You get the point? Okay, this is brilliant for designers, but what if you're a manager or a team lead, a CEO, or you're aspiring to be one? How do you actually get your team to build this? Well, here's the thing. You cannot just make users happy on a Jira Epic, story, ticket, or design brief. It just doesn't work. You need to change your approach. So this is where you need to learn to manage outcomes and not outputs. An output is a feature. I'm sure, of course, when we're building solutions, features are part of the outputs. Yes, exactly. So ship the V2 dashboard. That is version 2. See, it's a task. An outcome is the result you want to create in the world. So make our users feel 100% confident and secure when they transfer money. How do you do that? With supportive solutions that have features in it, but you're driving to an outcome. An outcome is closely associated with what I previously referred to, which is to create a user-centered problem to solve with a matching desired outcome. Now that relates to critical thinking. Now a link to that is up here. But do you see the difference? See, one is a command and the other is a mission. Yes, they will choose to accept it. Well, I hope they will. Now, as a leader, your job is to clearly define the emotional outcome. Get your team together and ask the question, when a user completes his task, how do we want them to feel? Delighted, secure, smart, relieved. What is the desired outcome? Define that feeling. Make that your North Star. Then you give your team the autonomy and the power to figure it out. Figure out the how. So you empower your designers, your writers, your engineers to use their expertise to hit that emotional target. You see, they'll figure out the best visceral, behavioural and reflective design choices to create that feeling. Your job is to provide the context, the resources, and to protect that vision so that goal can be achieved. So you stop measuring success by features shipped and start measuring it by the outcome. For example, do your user reviews mention feeling safe? Does your net promoter score go up, for example? Are your people talking about how easy and delightful your app is? See, that's how you know you're winning. Now, we can cast our minds back to the banking app. Again, feeling safe, feeling secure. These are keywords you would be looking for in that feedback. Of course, depending on the app or the solution or the problem you're trying to solve, your metrics will of course vary. The KPIs you want to measure your success or failure or lessons learned by will change. So whether you're a designer on the front lines or a leader setting the vision, the challenge ultimately is the same. See, we've become obsessed with metrics, with function, with shipping the next thing. We've built a world of digital tools that work, but that's not enough anymore. The future belongs to those who build products that feel, products that connect. So I'll ask you this. What are you designing? Are you just designing a feature, or are you designing a feeling? Are you building a tool that people use, or an experience that people remember? Stop just solving problems. Start creating joy. That is the work that lasts. Now, if this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that goes beyond the surface of design and technology. And drop a comment below. Tell us, what's one product that gives you a positive emotional reaction every time you use it? I'd love to know. Thanks for watching. Stay present, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.